Okay, welcome back. This is the second section of a series I'm doing about the personal energy field and the aura and prana and so on. And I said in the previous video, it's actually a very complicated subject. It has to do with energy, electronics, electrical systems, flow, all kinds of stuff, light, frequencies, and so on. Now, what I had said that there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about, and someone listening might be able to say, well, how do I know what you're saying is true? So what I'm going to try to do is give a certain number of basic exercises that can help somebody intuitively recognize what I'm talking about. Some of these techniques are very, very simple. I'm not going to teach anything that I have been exactly taught by my teacher. These are different kinds of simple techniques. And help us kind of sense our energy field, because, as I mentioned in the previous video, we have this electronic system around us, and in some ways, one way to look at it is kind of like a fire. If you look at a flame, say a candle, or a more complicated flame, say a wood fire, and then you have different kinds of gas flames, for example, say butane, that they use in laboratories, beautiful blue. Now, imagine our system, electrical system. For example, lightning is a visual representation of a certain type of electricity display going through the atmosphere. But on a much, much smaller scale, there's electrical impulses that are extending out from our body through our senses, through our physicalness. Now, all of that activity, as I said, is sort of like a flame. Think about a person, and surrounding him there's an energy field. Now, it's constantly changing. That's the thing. So now if you ever see a flame that the wind is blowing on it, and it's going to flicker like crazy, and maybe there's different materials in there, so it might glow with different colors. But essentially, there's an assembly of energies that the ideal is to keep it in a very smooth, beautiful motion. And that way, there's less stress on the system. Whereas if you see a flame that get blown, eventually it can go out. Whereas if you get into a resonant system where it's a nice, beautiful rhythm, there's an harmonious interaction with the other parts of the environment. Now, getting back to a couple little basic exercises. I mentioned animals. Dogs, in particular, it's well known that they have a very powerful body, even big dogs in particular, and then they have powerful pranic system, energy system, very physical. Now, you get a dog like, say, well, there's a lot of different kinds of dogs. I recently saw almost a pure wolf in domestic captivity. Powerful field. Well, we have that too, but ours may or may not be. Sometimes people are lucky. Some people get born with the charisma. Things just seem to go in their body, and no matter what they do. Some people struggle with it. But just like a candle flickering, trying to get our personal flame into a smooth, steady rhythm, and then it helps us. Now, one way, hugging a dog. People make fun of tree huggers, but you shouldn't. Beautiful going out into the forest and hearing pine trees, many, many different kinds of plants. Plants in general, just pranic energy. A lot of water, a lot of moisture, a lot of heat coming out of plants. beautiful energy comes out of plants sometimes. It's particularly big, majestic trees. So these are some exercises, but one I'd like to invite people to try. I'm just going to demonstrate just maybe a couple of minutes or a minute or so. But in particular, if you lie down in a place that's very, very comfortable, not necessarily out in the sunshine, that's maybe a bit too intense, maybe in some shaded area, maybe on a bed with the window open, preferably near some plants. And just for a moment, just stop everything. Now, that can be extremely powerful. You can sense your field. It can be extremely powerful. There are some people who just relax and boom, they have bliss, or they fall asleep. But to get an idea of what is near us, our own container, because when our aura is being battered around by different kinds of influences, and there's millions of things, there's all kinds of manufactured waves, chemicals, bodies, smells, other people that affect our life force. So getting back to the image of the flame, if you think about somebody when they're dancing, for example, and you see their arms go up and down. Now, if you think about that, not only the arms are going up and down, but all this energy can be swept around and moved in a very, very powerful way. And this has been demonstrated by many of, particularly the martial arts, but there's also in the realm of dance, where you feel this movement of this energy, Qigong, Tai Chi, there's whatever words for it. So what I'm trying to do is get people to feel their own energy field. And it's intuitively there. We know it's there because if you start feeling, close your eyes. You see? Now, all of that energy, that powerful electrical force that you're feeling when you're sent to yourself, that's a part of your own awareness. That's part of who you are. We're not just a body. And before we go and learn a little bit more, there's a lot to talk about, as I mentioned. How to ground ourselves, how to feel our own feels. Now, once you practice that a little bit, after a while you can just feel that in our hands, not just in our hands, but all around our hands. This is how Reiki is done, this is how healing in hands is done. It's a very, very practical thing. But most of the time, people don't pay much attention to it. So this is what this little series is about, and how to work with it a bit. So what I'm going to do is make, like I said, it's only a short segment because of the YouTube limitations, but I drew this because you got clouds, you got electrical force, lightning, trees, and this might be the last segment that I use this, but there it is, my simple drawings.